Hello and welcome to What Am I Rolling? A twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast, hosted by me, Fiona. This week, I'm joined by my friends David, Ben, Viv and Rob for Salvage Union, a post-apocalyptic mech tabletop role-playing game published by Leyline Press. The world is dead. Arcologies dot the landscapes, but are home only to the corporate elites and those who serve them. Those who wish for freedom live instead out in the wastes, eking out a living amidst the dust storms, drought, and the monsters that plague the landscape. The more enterprising see a third way, a collective of like-minded folk not content with waste of life or Corpo serfdom. A collective with the desire to realise their own destiny. Looks like it's time to join Salvage Union. You can find out more information about Salvage Union on the Leyline Press's website. That's leyline.press. The Kickstarter for Salvage Union is still open until early January 2022, so go and back it to get your own copy. I'll add links to it and to Leyline Press's website on the What Am I Rolling website and in this episode's show notes. So, as you may have guessed it, this one-shot is a little bit different to our previous one-shots, as I ran it live for the Drunken Storytellers podcast on their Twitch channel. This episode's audio was taken from that live stream and only edited slightly to take out the midstream breaks. You can watch the original unedited stream on the Drunken Storytellers YouTube channel, which I'll put a link to in this episode's show notes. A massive thank you to the Drunken Storyteller podcast for allowing me to run this particular one-shot on their Twitch channel. The Drunken Storyteller is a podcast where David, who plays Blackjack the Hacker in this episode's one-shot, explores the world's myths, legends and stories, all whilst having a few drinks. If you're interested in deep dives into folklore, then I highly recommend checking out this podcast. We're planning a few more RPG live streams in the new year, so keep your eyes peeled for those. So here's how Salvage Union works. Players take on the role of a ragtag group of pilots who make ends meet by salvaging scrap within a post-apocalyptic wasteland. These pilots, as well as their entire ecosystem and community, live on a huge ship-like mech known as a Union crawler. Pilots will range out of this crawler on their scrap-built mechs to tackle the denizens of the wasteland in a constant hunt for salvage to upgrade and to survive. Essentially, this RPG, Salvage Union, is a mech game using Theatre of the Mind RPG mechanics. At the beginning of this actual play, I did summarise some of the core mechanics that Salvage Union uses on the stream. However, I just think it's quite good just to go over them here again. In Salvage Union, there's no character modifiers or ability proficiencies. Instead, we only have two sets of 3 stats, one set for the mechs and the other set for the pilots. For the mechs, we have the following. Mechs have structure points, which represent how much damage the mech can take and an indicator of their overall health. Mechs also have something called heat, which generates each time the players push their mechs to do an action or use certain heat-generating systems. If this value goes too high, the mech reactor can potentially overload, causing it to shut down or lose systems or even be destroyed. The max heat for any mech is 10. And finally, mechs also have something called energy points. These are points which players can spend to activate certain abilities on their mechs, so they can do cool weapon attacks or stunts. The amount of energy points varies depending on which mech the player is using. For pilots, we have the following. Pilots have hit points, representing how tough a pilot is and a measure of their overall health. Pilots have stress, which is accumulated each time the players push their pilots to do something, or use certain equipment, or are affected by other factors. If this goes too high, the pilot may freeze in a flight or fight mode, potentially causing them to make bad decisions, or even go catatonic. The max stress for a pilot is 10. And finally, pilots have something called ability points, points which players can spend to use custom abilities the pilot has access to, such as allowing them to gain information or hack other mechs, and so on. The default number of ability points per pilot is 5. The core mechanic of Salvage Union is based on the Quest RPG by the Adventure Guild and is very straightforward. Essentially, when a player declares an action and there is an uncertain, risky, or potentially interesting outcome, they roll a d20. On a 20, the player has nailed it. They have overcome the odds and managed an outstanding success, and may even achieve an additional bonus of their choice to an action. On an 11 to 19, they've gained a success. The player has achieved their goal without any compromises. On a 6 to 10, the player has achieved a tough choice. They have succeeded in their action, but at a cost. The mediator will give them a tough choice to make, with some kind of consequence. On a 2 to 5, they have achieved a failure. The player has failed at what they're attempting, and they face a consequence of the mediator's choice. And a natural 1 is a cascade failure. The player has failed completely, and something has gone terribly wrong. The player suffers a consequence of the mediator's choice. Finally, there is a mechanic called pushing the roll. Once per turn, players can push their mechs to squeeze out additional power. When they push, they may re-roll a d20 and accept the second result of the die. Pushing a mech comes at a cost. After the push roll, players must add 2 heat to their mech and then roll a d20. If the result is equal to or under the heat level, the mech reactor has overloaded, and then the player must roll on the reactor overload table to see what happens. Similarly, once per turn, players can also push their pilots to get additional reserves out of them. And similarly, pushing pilots comes at a cost, in terms of adding 2 stress to the pilot, rolling a d20, and then rolling on the stress overload table if that result is equal to or under the pilot's stress level. There are ways to vent heat and to release stress, which I talk about later on the stream. However, if you want to know more about these rules, you can download the free Quickstart guide from the Salvage Union Kickstarter, which has all the rules we use in this one-shot, as well as the scenario we play, the downing of the Atychos. One last thing before we begin. Naturally, there are times in this one-shot where the players and myself, most of myself, get the rules wrong or forget something plot-wise. Whilst we always endeavour to stick to the rules wherever possible, at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. And what matters most is that everyone enjoys themselves. So, with all that out of the way, let's play Salvage Union. And I believe we're live, according to the nod from David. Hello, everyone. My name is Fiona. I run the What Am I Rolling podcast, which is a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast. But today it is not monthly. It is pretty much weekly. We are here to do Quickstart, a quick one-shot of Salvage Union, which hopefully most people have arrived here. It was very short notice putting together. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Just to say that in case you are like, what? Who are we? What do we do? Well, we're a group of friends who just like playing role-playing games together, and we like doing it at very short notice, especially when we're cross with what's going on with our lives. So enjoy that, folks, for the rest of the day. So just to start off, Salvage Union, in case you don't know, is a post-apocalyptic mech role-playing game powered by Quest, the RPG, which is originally the Adventurers Guild. But tonight my players will be playing as a ragtag group of mech pilots who make ends meet by salvaging scrap within this sort of post-apocalyptic wasteland. The Kickstarter for Salvage Union is live, in case you've been under a rock for the last couple of weeks, and it has successfully funded, and it is smashing all its stretch goals just now. So I'm sure there'll be a link in the chat at some point where
just
you can
now.
No, now look at that! I say it and it happens.
It's like
if I say
magic.
pizza, if I say pizza, it won't appear. But if I say a link to the Kickstarter, it will appear.
Well, you can try the pizza thing.
Oh, I could, but that
Pizza.
No, didn't work. Sad. Sad and mad. But if you go onto the Kickstarter link, you can not only fund the Kickstarter, get your own copy when it comes out finally in print, you can also download the Quickstart rules, where you can see this scenario we're about to play tonight and have a look at it and have a look at those rules. And you can join the Discord, where you can go find some like-minded mech pilot friends and do some playtesting yourself. With all that out the way, next very important thing is boundaries. Hooray! Boundaries, our favorite thing in the world. Like most role-playing games, we like having fun, but we also like having safe fun. Yes, I'm putting the fun back into safe fun. That's how we're doing this. So because we like being proactive rather than reactive, we have instituted a group of safety tools. Essentially, if we'll do the X card for this, where essentially if at any point one of the players feels uncomfortable about what is happening in the scene, they can simply just cross their arms like this or send me a little X in chat, and we will just stop the scene and we'll either move forward or revise it to that element of whatever it is out of the scene. At no point do the players have to justify why they want that element out of the scene. I might have to ask a clarifying question to see what that element was, but that is about it. Similarly, if you are on the stream or if you're watching this and there are times that you feel uncomfortable yourself, do take that break and do come back to us if you're ready or not. And yes, as I just put into the chat as well, in Salvage Union, they use something called stop sign, which is a different way of doing this, but it's essentially the same approach. So if at any point one of the players says stop or puts it in the chat, we'll stop and do the same thing. So with all that out of the way, I'd like to introduce all of my players. So if we're going around clockwise, we'll go with David. David, could you say what your name is of your pilot, sort of their pronouns, a little description about what they are, what mech they're using, and something that's interesting about them as an ability or something that their mech does. So take it away, David.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I was just being distracted by the chat. I was like, there's people in the chat. I'm not used to this. I've got to do things. So yeah, hi, I'm David. I am playing Blackjack, the hacker. Their pronouns are they, them, I will say. And they run around in they run around with Mantis, the big, weird kind of, it looks like two oil barrels strapped onto legs, I guess, mech. I run around, hack things. Bugs are features. If you don't like it not working, tough. Basically, I have a robotic foot, and I have the most amazing modded out las pistol ever. And if you don't like it, you'll meet it.
Excellent. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Blackjack. We'll then move on to below Blackjack, I believe, is Ben. Ben, could you introduce your player? You are the player. Introduce your pilots, their pronouns, a little description about it, what mech they're using, and something interesting about the mech or themselves and ability.
Absolutely, yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Ben. I've been playing the Socrates, or the soldier class tonight, with my mech Brawler. Socrates is a sort of wizened older gentleman using he, him pronouns, and not dissimilar from Blackjack, is a veteran of surviving in these wonderful wastelands, and as such has a metallic jaw and ocular implant. Some of the fun things that I'm capable of is largely that I'm going to be responsible for keeping everyone here healthy, using my healing biofoam as and when that's needed. And unlike everyone else, Brawler, which is going to be represented by my Ford F50 for those who want that experience, is anthropomorphic, which means I have hands and can use them. Mech punch.
Fantastic. Lovely to meet you, Socrates. Shooting off over to the left-hand side of the screen is Rob at the bottom. Rob, could you introduce your pilot, pronouns, quick description of who they are and the mech they're playing, and something special about them, please?
Yeah, so I'm playing Flea, he, him, scruffy bastard salvager with a bad beard and hasn't washed his hair, so I'm LARPing, basically. I've gone all out. Flea is piloting the Jackhammer, which is an old mining mech that is now a salvager. It's got a big stinky arm to pick up all the bits of technology in the wastelands, but more importantly, it's got a big rotary sort of half drill, half buzzsaw, which I can smash into people and mechs. So if anyone gets a bit too close, watch out. And I've also got a nail gun, like off of Quake.
Oh, nice.
Nice and simple, off of Quake. Brilliant.
Off of Quake.
And then finally, our final player up on the top left-hand side of the thing is Viv. Viv, if you could introduce your pilot, their pronouns, a little description about them, what mech they're using, and something about the mech or themselves that is like, ooh, that's really cool. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Vivian. I'm playing Commodore, pronouns for both she, her. She is a big, large woman. She is tall. She is fat. She's a brick shit house. She's having a great time. She's the hauler, which is a trucker, basically. She's piling the Atlas, which is like a lorry with legs, I would say. And a railgun, because that's always fun. And that's Commodore.
That's Commodore. Thank you very much. So, as you can see, a proper ragtag group of mech pilots for this adventure, which I'm very, very excited to go. So, yes, Salvage Union is a mech game without the minis or without the tech. So, it's all theatre of the mind stuff. So, there'll be no fancy maps or anything that's evening. So, that makes it easy for me and probably easy for David, who's doing the stream. Some key terms we'll just go through just very quickly so that people have an idea of what we're doing. But, of course, as we're going throughout the stream, we come back to them, we'll say them over and over again. So there are no ability scores or modifiers in this game. It is just simply a D20 roll. So thankfully, no one has to remember too much on that. Thank you, Flea, for demonstrating what a D20 is. And thank you, Socrates, for that invisible D20. Fantastic news.
You mean I have to roll dice in this game?
Only one dice in this game.
Okay,
So
I'm going to leave now. It all goes wrong as soon as I have to touch a dice.
I know, Blackjack. You're very infamous, I guess, for those rules. But you are a player in this, not the DM or the mediator, as it is called in this game. So
it's probably going to go even worse then.
Probably. But we can live in hope. We can live in hope. So in terms, as you can tell, the players are playing both the pilots and their mechs. So they have 3 different stats for each of them. For the mechs, you have something called structure points, which is essentially how much damage your mech can take. There is also something called heat, which is generated each time you sort of push your mech or use certain abilities. If this goes too high, your mech's reactor could potentially overload, causing your mech to shut down at key moments or lose systems or destroy modules or even just self-destruct itself. Let's hope that never happens. The max damage, the max heat you can ever have is 10, and we'll go into that if should that ever happen. Hopefully
Challenge accepted.
Oh no. You also have something called energy points, and which the players can use to activate certain mech abilities. And these can vary depending on which mech our players have. Looking at the pilots, you have, of course, hit points, which represent how tough your pilot is and a measure of their health. They also have something called stress, which is very similar to heat. So they get this every time they push their pilot or they use certain equipment or they're affected by other outside factors. If this stress level goes too high, much like in real life, you will freeze in a sort of fight or flight situation, potentially causing you to make bad decisions. Hooray! Even in dystopian future, you'll still get stressed. Who knew? The max stress for any pilot is 10, and again, we'll go through that as well, should that ever happen. And instead of energy points, you have something called ability points, so which you can use to access any sort of abilities and sort of use those as a pilot. And the default ability points you get is 5. So as I sort of mentioned, the core mechanic of this game is a D20. So whenever a player declares an action and there is some sort of uncertain or risky or potentially interesting outcome, I'll ask you to roll the D20. On a 20, you've absolutely nailed it. You've overcome the odds. You've made an outstanding success. Everyone's very, very impressed. And you get an additional bonus of your choice to this. If you're in combat, your damage is doubled. On an 11 to 19, it's just a success. You did it. You did the thing. We're all very surprised, but we're all pleased that you got there. Damage is dealt as normal in combat, but hey, you've succeeded. On a 6 to 10, it is a tough choice. You barely just got out there. You're just hanging on for the loose of your threads. So you succeed, but I will give you a choice to take 1 or 2 sort of consequences, and you, the player, gets to decide which of those consequences it is. In combat, you manage to hit whatever your target is, but something goes wrong with your mech, essentially, or with you. Depends on how you're fighting. A 2 to 5 is failure. So you fail to do what you were attempting to do, and you face a consequence of my choosing, which is super fun. I've made a list and everything. In combat, that means you just miss the target. And then finally, you have, if you roll a 1, a natural 1, there's something called a cascade failure. You failed and something has gone terribly wrong. You suffer a severe consequence of my choice. And in combat means you've missed the target and something has gone wrong. Essentially, you need to get above a 6 or higher in order to succeed at something. And that's
it's not a failure, it's a feature.
Right. Very true, very true. The final little thing I want to say before we go on, at any point during a turn, so once per turn, essentially, players can choose whether they want to push their mech or their pilot, I read. So essentially, if you don't like the result, you can choose to push your mech or something to do it again and do the reroll and take the second result. However, should you do that, you may gain some heat. Well, sorry, you will gain some heat, or you'll gain some stress depending on who you're pushing. And then you'll do a d20 roll on a table to see, do you freeze? Do you get stressed, etc. on that. So that is an option to you. So if at any point you're like, I rolled really lowly, but I could push it and make a choice. Essentially, if you've ever played Call of Cthulhu, it's that sort of mechanic as well, that if you fail hard, but at the same time, if you push, you might get where you need to go. And with that, that's all I can say for now. There are obviously other ways of sort of downtime, which we might not get to in this episode. There's also ways to vent heat and to relieve stress. But again, we'll come to that should that arise. So, players, my pilots, are you ready? Are you ready to play? Are you ready to mech?
Of course.
Let's go. Let's party.
Let's go. Okay, so today we are playing the quick start scenario of the downing of the, and I'm going to say this wrong, I've been practicing it all day, but the Atychos, the downing of the Atychos we're playing. So, players, you have detected a crashed Corpo air transport ship belonging to the Eventist Industries, a corporation that specializes in experimental heavy mechs and weaponry. This means that the transport is likely to be holding some quality salvage. The transport has crashed in amidst a ruined city once known as Hope Falls. Your Union crawler, where you're all sort of based, has sort of deployed itself at the edge of this area for safety, and you're getting ready in your mechs to range out and get yourself some salvage. You do know, you all know each other, you've all worked together before on this. You have that you're not alone when you're going out to get salvage. There are going to be many interested parties to get the salvage, and you need to get there fast. You can expect like a Corpo retrieval team going to be en route, and you know that in the area there are going to be wastelanders who will want to be after whatever they can find. You receive a data map, which I will put in the Discord chat shortly so people can see where we're going, which sort of gives you some basic intel. You have to range out. So your mission essentially is to range out, get to Hope Falls, salvage what you can from this fallen ship, and then make it back to your Union crawler for safety. And I will put that in the chat just now. I guess before we start, what would you folks be doing as you're sort of getting ready to go out? We'll go with the opposite way around. So Blackjack, well, as you're sort of making your way, getting ready to what sort of Blackjack doing to get ready to go salvage?
I've got a pre-war little handheld thing. It's about this big, and I'm sat there playing something on it. There's like lots of bright colours flashing along. Yeah. Every now and then I kind of make a little squeal as I go, "Ooh, candy!" as they all get crushed. I'm sat there playing basically Candy Crush on an old handheld console that I've managed to salvage. It's the only thing that I can get to work on it, but
I like the idea that you've had to have various different modded inputs to charge it.
It's this big, but the extras around it, it's actually about the size of an actual laptop with the extra.
The entire
kind of
arm of one of your mechs is just sat, disconnected, and you're leaning against it to power this.
It's just the finger plugged in.
And I'm actually not what I've actually done is I've got a separate controller where I'm controlling the mech itself to touch the screen. And there's a lot of cracked screen on it.
Fantastic, good to know. What about you, Commodore? What are you doing to get ready to go out and salvage?
I have to be in the right mood to salvage. I need to relax.
Yeah.
Got one of those old radios. People tend to know all kinds of stuff. I have my own show every now and again. I try and interview the others. They're generally not up for it. Mm-hmm. But you need to relax. You need to stay calm. And I've kept the Atlas. Atlas is an Avantis mech itself. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I know that stuff. I've taken this apart and put it back together again 100 times. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
What kind of music do you play on your radio then?
Exclusively bluegrass.
Excellent.
It's the only post-apocalyptic music.
Yeah,
exactly.
Lots of banjos.
I do believe that per Rob's background here, that we can argue that heavy rock and death metal is still very much present in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, and we know this.
And as a result,
don't forget the cyber. Don't forget the cyber.
Well, Flea, what are you doing to get ready to go out and salvage?
Flea is jazzed for this. This is what Flea does. When Flea gets excited, Flea can refer to themselves in the third person occasionally. But this is what Flea does. Flea goes out, they salvage, they get the best bits. So Flea is currently just taking off every bit of his mech and then putting it back on, fixing stuff that's broken, breaking things that are fixed, and then fixing those again. Occasionally disappearing out of everyone else's eye view for a minute, and then a bit appears on Flea's mech that you're sure was part of your mech a minute ago. But there you go. It just happens. And then also pointing out to Blackjack that despite the apocalypse, the cash shop still does work on Candy Crush. So you can always skip that. That's the one.
I turn around and say that's why you're poor all the time and nicking other people's stuff, isn't it?
But yeah,
what's our microtransactions?
They survived. Them and NFTs have survived for some bizarre reasons.
Oh no! Truly is a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
You cannot overlook.
Look! Have you seen this new one I've collected? I've collected a new one. I paid a lot of money for this. No one's going to copy it.
Just buzzing round the hangar like a proverbial flea.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And Socrates, what are you doing to get ready to go out and salvage on this mission?
Chasing Flea.
Give that back. That's mine.
I genuinely believe that Socrates spends more than half of his time chasing Flea to get the missile pods back that they have nicked from Brawler's shoulder. Just like, no, that goes, no, bring it back. No, I think
they're useful. You can put them on the back of your legs, go a bit faster.
They're even more useful for dealing with bio-titans and wasters. I think Socrates is one of these sort of consummate professional style people that waits until the aftermath of the run to decompress. So right now it's all business. It's the last minute checks. It's making sure gun, knife, and whatever is where it's meant to be, filled up with ammo, filled up with fuel. Socrates is the person doing the checks. They're the one with the checklist, and they're making sure that everyone has everything right, ready, and good to go. And then when they come back, that's when Socrates lets themselves just decompress. Once he's got these that's when he'll drink the moonshine.
Fantastic.
And can we have our first dice roll of the game, actually? I have something I want to do.
Please narrate what you would like to do.
So as Flea is buzzing around and randomly trying to steal things, I noticed that Flea is trying to half-inch something off of Mantis. I've booby-trapped pretty much every part of Mantis.
Oh dear.
So I want to sit there, small, kind of just continue playing Candy Crush as it is. Wait for Flea to attach it to their mech and activate a small little booby trap that will just basically freeze the leg, one of the legs, and it just won't work.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. So roll that d20 and let us know what you get.
Well, this is going to go well.
Yeah.
I got a 4.
A 4?
You made it work better. How did you make it work better?
Yeah, wow, this is much better.
So
I told you.
So a 4
it's
is
a feature.
4 is a failure. So unfortunately, it's like brilliant, great, and it works even better than before. And you're just like, damn.
Fucking Candy Crush, ruined my life. Just needed those pineapples.
Oh, it's nice that you're working. We're having more of a team player attitude. Yeah, that's great.
Yes, that's exactly what I planned. I planned it to make it better. I know how sometimes you have issues with your mech, so I thought I'd help you this time. Honestly, nothing bad was going to happen ever. It's perfectly fine.
With those famous words of nothing could possibly go wrong, we're going to look towards the data map, and obviously we don't have this on stream. I've given it in the chat for our players. So
I could try and share it, but that would just
let's not make it any more difficult than it has to be, David. No. And also, hey, if you really want to see what the map is that they're looking at, you could download the Quickstart guide on the Kickstarter, which has it there at the back. So you can go and do that if you like. It's a very cool map. So yes, maybe you get sort of bleep as the your downloads are finally finished, and you get sort of a topical sort of down map showing the area around you. At 0.001 is the crawler itself. So this is where you are currently based, and you can see like 4 life signs going blip blip over there, and you can see across from you, you have sort of 2 options. I'll say that again. You see in the far distance, sort of at the bottom left, there's a word that says Hope Falls. You can see various sort of like buildings and burnt out sort of holes and stuff, and you know that's where the ship, the Atychos, landed essentially. To get there, though, the terrain itself, as you can, a little bit like the stuff behind me, it is desert-like, it is hot, but you can see there's sort of 2 paths to it, essentially. You see to the right of you, there is something called the Mountain Pass, which is huge, sort of great big sort of hills of sand, sort of like, and crevices and rock, very rocky, so it would take your time to get there, compared to the arid desert, which is off to the left of you, a huge flat expanse, but is known for overheating mechs. And you can see, even just looking out of the crawler just now, you can see there are broken bits of mech out there already, suffering from great heat exhaustion, essentially. Both these paths sort of come onto a very wide sort of stretch known as the highway. And again, it's far enough so you can see it. You can see it's almost like one of those sort of also like Planet of the Apes style, but it's a huge sort of, think of the Golden Gate Bridge essentially, and you can see piles up of various vehicles and mechs that sort of just over there, creating a whole sort of blockade essentially, so blocking off anything coming straight towards it essentially.
What time of day is it at the moment?
It's really early in the morning, because looking at the data map itself, it gives you, like a sat-nav, estimated time of arrivals. For every part in this map, you think it will take 1 hour to go across to go across each of these parts. If you have a light mech, you can make it in half the time, because you're just skittering across essentially. Finally, though, there is another blip that comes up, a point of interest, a little bit off the highway. There's something called Scrapper's Bluff, and you know this as your sort of Union rep, your crawler rep will inform you that this is a settlement of wastelanders. There was another Union crawler that sort of settled here, and there are a couple people there should you wish to have more assistance and stuff. Unfortunately, they're sending you out as sort of an advance guard. No one else is available. They're all having downtime from previous salvage hauls, but they trust you as the top team for this job. So, team, you have this map in front of you. You can see there's 2 ways towards the highway, and then the highway itself would lead on to Hope Falls. What is your plan? What are you thinking about?
Danger zone.
That's playing on Commodore's radio. But what are you thinking when you're looking at this map? What is your plan as a group?
I mean, the mountain pass looks like you're almost coming face to face with the Scrapper's Bluff, which makes sense, which is probably, while safer, not heat, is going to get us in trouble. The Rad Desert, if we reckon we've done enough work on our mechs, we should be okay if we go early enough and just lead off. We could go as fast as we can across it. Flea would vote for the Rad Desert.
Out of character speaking, what's the weight class of everyone's mechs? I'm medium.
Light.
Heavy.
I'll see you all in Hope Falls then.
Medium. So we've literally got a mix here between the difficulty I imagine for the heavy mech might be in the sand, is that it's a loose topographical thing, so that's gonna, that will be harder for you to deal with. But the mountain pass is also going to be a risk of, if it's a narrow space and heavy mech, how do we deal with it?
Go get through it. It'll all be fine. My mech is specially dealt to deal with extra heat.
Oh, okay.
So there's a vote for the desert from Commodore.
Commodore, you're going to be hauling whatever we find, right? So really, it's going to be.
I've got a huge ass truck bed in the back.
Yeah, so. I think you've got the casting vote, to be honest, because if we can't get your mech, there's no point getting there if we can't load it up.
Yeah, that's true.
I love the idea Commodore's like, this baby, slap, slap. This can contain all of the stuff.
It can fit so much heat.
look at this salvage. What about you, Blackjack? What are you thinking?
I'm just looking at what I've got. I'm happy just to kind of run around and scout around everyone. and follow around. I can feign death, so I don't really mind. If someone wants to maybe attack me when I'm not near anyone, I'll just feign death. So, or stop them from moving and attacking me.
Is anyone's locomotion system expressly not designed for dealing with a type of environment?
Most terrain adaptable.
Same.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Commodore, yours too?
Mine doesn't mention terrain. It's mostly just I am very good at carrying a lot of stuff.
Then I vote for the desert as well. Let's go fast and through it and
In and
hope
out.
that a situation of in and out. We can always take the slower route back through the mountains when we're not hauling stuff. But whilst we're unloaded, let's take the faster option here.
We want to get there as soon as possible, get in the way before anyone else shows up.
Exactly.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep. Let's go through the radiation desert. Radiation is fine. Doesn't do anything to anybody or anything.
We won't live long enough for it to affect us. Like smoking.
I do need a new foot. I have lost one, so hopefully it will grow back.
Your match on the other one. Yeah. Easy enough. So you've all, as a team, sort of go out. Out of interest, what is the formation? Are you all going in a line, or are you all following each other? Because I want to see the cinematic of you, almost like Lord of the Rings style, going over the mountain, but across the desert. So who's going first, essentially?
I think we had the volunteer from the fast light one.
Oh. So Blackjack,
yes, I was like, I've got this. I'm fine. I will go scout ahead and make sure that the way is clear. If you see me crawling on the ground like a dead beetle, then run.
Yeah.
Towards you or away from you?
Well, you, Socrates, you can run towards me because you want to punch things. Everybody else, probably away, meandering.
So I know that Salvage Union uses like range bands. If we keep you within close range, which is a good few strides away, then we've got that gap between you and the three of us can all stay within engaged distance where we're literally as side to side as a mech can be. You know, obviously there's going to be but we need to protect Commodore. And I've got a laser gun, but nothing huge.
I've got a laser, but I've also got comms module, which allows me to communicate to everybody at far range.
Well, I have a 30mm auto cannon. So how about I take next? I also have missile pods, which have long range. Yeah. So if I take next, then I can shoot within close distance, but also shoot within long distance in case anything comes from behind us really easily. And additionally, I have the ability to pinpoint and multi-target. So I can aim in multiple locations if I'm split either way. And if we have the heavy pincered between myself and Flea, so if Commodore goes in the middle because you're a heavier, slower mech in that regard, and probably not as
I'd say like
no, I am bigger. I have armor. I'm very good at taking hits. Is the thing. I also have a rail gun and cluster mines. So
it's very kind of you folks, but excuse me.
You can protect me, but no.
Necessary.
Yeah. Can we just hitch a lift? Can we just get on the back of Commodore?
I have a lot of space. There's space back there.
Yeah. Hop on in. But yeah, it's like you will all be going at the same speed because most of you are sort of medium and the same with heavy. It's just that to get across quickly, for example, Blackjack can get there much quicker than you folks can. That's literally the only difference really between sort of light and medium.
I'll be scouting around ahead of them, just being the scout because using the theatre of the mind idea of being the light mech because we don't have a scout.
No, they're off having, I don't know, tea and biscuits, I don't know.
No, Flea stole part of their mech.
Yeah. It cuts back to them and there's just this, like, chassis with no legs.
It's built up on bricks.
I was meant to be going out with you guys, but what the?
Bye!
Damn you,
Flea's mech's got 2 legs painted in camo that say Scout on the side of them.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so head on off. Yeah. I would like everyone for me to roll a d20 and tell me what we got. Well, this is more of a group check per to say. So just let me know. Those. Yeah, let me know.
13.
Aha,
17.
6.
Success. Just a tough choice. That's fine. Blackjack. 2. Oh.
And I changed
Oh,
dice.
dear. Yeah, change dice now. As you can.
No. That I
You
did
are
change
rolling.
dice from the other one. I've got
Oh,
I've got an entire
D20.
box of them here because I know how
You're
bad
rolling a
this is going to
D20,
go.
not like a D4, right? Just checking. It is the right dice. It's one of these. One of these ones.
You mean this that kind of?
Yeah.
I guess.
Just checking, like a 4 and a 2.
I think we need to get David to shake hands with Will Wheaton and exchange dice, because if we can manage this, the spell
The world
will
will
be broken.
explode.
Wheaton's curse will be removed, and we will all live in a world where Wheaton's law is universal.
Absolutely. So, you do make it across the desert. It is hard going. The sun is beating down on you. Everyone will take 1 point of structure damage as the radiation is hurting your mechs, so to speak, and your heat maximum goes down by 2. It is incredibly hot, and so your systems are overloaded. So do keep that in mind. Commodore, I'm going to give you a choice. You will get there, absolutely, but your tough choice is interesting. I would like you to either, on your next sort of roll, if it should come up in combat, so make a note of this, you can either deal half damage or hurt yourself in that, essentially. As your systems, they're getting quite hot, and so you need some time just to cool it down and tweak it. So next time we're in combat, that is going to be your sort of downside to that. So we'll come back to that. Actually, no, choose now, and we can do it.
I'll hurt myself. I have plenty of points.
You're like,
I'll be
all
fine.
right, fine. You're like, okay, and David.
Get the job
Okay.
done.
Blackjack, it is very hot in your thing. I'd like you to take 2 stress as you're busy mopping your brow and you're trying not to get your electrics in anything. And with that 2 stress, can you also roll for me a D20 roll?
You want me to roll another dice?
I do want you to roll another dice, please.
Then you one way this can go. Oh no, it went up. I got a 7 this time.
You got a 7. Ooh, that's slightly higher.
I
Okay,
can
so
keep
this
that
is
dice.
you can keep that dice. So this is on the stress load table. So every time you get stress, you have to roll on it and see what you get. You attemptly freeze in panic as you try to regain your composure. You cannot act or move on this turn. So I guess what happens is as you're sort of moving across, you're really struggling. You're like, oh God, I can't do it, whatever. And you slow down quite significantly. So you're not scouting ahead. And so you get no bonuses per se whilst looking around for stuff. So you sort of actually, instead of scouting ahead, you're sort of in line with the others. You're
I
desperately
blame
trying to
Flea.
keep up.
Flea stole my heat capacitor that worked the fan.
And I like, again, because you all have comms modules as well. So I like the idea there's a constant ongoing, like, this is all your fault.
Flea, why did you have to steal that bit? You've broken me. It's your fault. Everything is going wrong again. Why?
Just like that, you're breaking up. I'm sorry, my fan is too loud. Just 1 second, and I turned down my big fan that's blowing with little bits of paper. Like that. It's like, okay, I can hear you now. Are you okay?
I hate you so much.
I think the ice machine's packing up on mine.
Comms channels are
Hopefully we'll
for
find one.
official reports only, people. Keep your eyes peeled. Come on.
I'm sorry, you're all breaking up, and then I just put the most awful feedback through the comm set.
Oh, I love this song.
I can't believe
This is-
Ministry survived.
This is post-radiated cockroach, right?
I think it's called a Proctima Berserk.
Yeah.
So this ongoing commentary, and as the camera sort of moves away from this sort of 4 mechs making its way through the desert, you eventually arrive after an hour or 2 towards the highway itself. And you can see, it's, like I said, it's a portion of this sort of ruined highway that sort of leads towards the city itself. And it's sort of, you can see bits of it are unstable, and there's junked vehicles everywhere. You do manage to easily sort of make your way up onto the highway itself. Maybe people who have arms are able to help other mechs up, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of shake it off. As you sort of turn to look to where the Hope Falls is, you can see coming towards you, again, it's super obvious if you're in a mech, you see other mechs very close by. You see what you recognize to be a merchant caravan with sort of 4 heavy transport mule mechs trying to navigate its way through the highway, but it's sort of struggling a bit because there's way too many cars of it. The one on the front looks like to be another standard light mech, sort of taking around, and all of your radios, the sort of communications running. And I said, "Oh, hello, hi. So sorry. We just, we saw you land. You're from the Union crawler 279. Hello, my name is Tiffany. We're just trying to make our way through. I hope that's okay. We're just trying to make our way through. Is that all right?"
Yeah, that's Roger. Tiffany, where are you headed?
We're just heading out. Essentially, there's over a couple of ways away. There's a waste settlement. We're just passing through there and then moving on to there. We want no trouble at all. You're probably here for the ship, right? Didn't touch it, didn't see it. We're just trying to.
Do you have any fans?
Fans? Maybe in the final cart. We don't know. It's all bits and pieces around here.
You see, Flea has offered to buy me a new fan.
Right.
Sorry, there was a break up there on the comms. I didn't pick that up.
Don't worry about it, Flea. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Do you have any?
I'm not that aware. I mean, if you folks would kindly help, like, we don't have any way to sort of move things out of the way. So if you're able to accommodate us, we'll happily give you something.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure we can help.
I've got a salvage arm. I can start shifting stuff.
Yeah, I've got anthropomorphic arms. If Commodore Blackjack, you on observation to keep eyes peeled, and then Flea, you and I will help move things out of the way.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I'm going to keep a good eye out for any good scrap in these things that have been wrecked already. I'm sure they've been picked clean, but you never know.
I'll have Brawler sling the sort of this massive autocannon over the shoulder. So the gun is there, ready, easily drawn, and just begin sort of like stomping over and like picking or pushing, flipping cars out of the way to create a path between everything.
Fantastic. Excellent. Okay, so it sounds like a D20 roll for everyone then. So obviously Socrates and Flea, you're trying to move stuff out of the way, and Commodore and Blackjack, you're sort of having a look out, just keeping a lookout, make sure nothing bad happens.
15.
I don't want to play Candy Crush again.
Success.
13.
Success.
19.
Oh, success.
A 16. I am definitely keeping this dice.
Hey!
Congratulations, she says. So yeah, easy enough, Flea and Socrates. You're used to moving stuff out, and you are sort of like the ones with the arms. So you're easy enough to move stuff out the way. Maybe it's a cool flip you do that you sort of pile up a couple on the same, like one on top of the other, and you're like, yeah, very cool. Moving stuff out. And so you manage to make a good, decent headway. But Commodore and Blackjack, in the distance, sort of just behind the caravan, it's starting to make its way through. You can see sort of popping out of getting onto the highway itself 4 other mechs. And there's no such thing as a bad mech, right? But these ones look like bad mechs. They're all, they've got black on. One has a skull and crossbows on, which is slightly bigger than the other 3.
And Zakuts.
Exactly. And it's sort of making its way. And on the comms, you hear, woohoo! Boys, we look like we've got a couple of caravans and some Muppets. Hey, hand them over and you won't have any problem from us. Tex is ready to take on everything you want.
How many are there?
Hey, Commodore, haven't you got a song on there? Something like an old band, Akadaka, something about a highway and things.
Would you, Fiona, are these people, would you say they're in far range?
They are, they're far. Because they're behind. Basically, the caravan is sort of close to you guys, and then behind it is sort of they're coming up essentially, and they're sort of gearing up. Like if a mech could crack its neck, it would.
Cool. I would like to shoot them with my railgun.
I would like to try and take control of one of them.
Excellent. Well, folks, it sounds like we're going into combat.
Yeah. We negotiate.
Absolutely. So, for those people at home, combat here is really, really easy. Essentially, on each person's turn, they just take an action or move, or they can move twice and no action. And that's pretty much it. It's also called Popcorn Initiative. Well, basically, I start. I will choose someone based on the narrative to start the combat, and then once they've done their turn, they choose somebody else. Now, I know what you're thinking. This could easily lead to all the players picking themselves and then going over to me as the mediator, and you'd be right. However, at the start of the turn, at the end of that turn, whoever's next will get another go. Essentially, they can always snake back and forth. So that's the only thing I'd say to the team there. Just be mindful of picking yourself all to go first, and then the others to go first. But I think because Commodore, you're just like, fuck it. Who are these people? How dare they come in? You can choose to go first. So yes, so they are sort of in far range just now. They're sort of cracking up. You can see the sort of various guns and stuff ready to go. What are you doing?
Shoot them with my railgun.
Excellent. So roll your d20.
Very good. This naturally generates 1 heat when fired. So I'm going to take that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, because of that thingy before, I need to take some damage as well.
Excellent. And before you do, which one are you shooting at? Are you shooting at the sort of the black one with skull and crossbows, or one of the smaller ones?
Skull and crossbones.
I thought so. Just thought I'd check though. Thought I'd check. Okay, so yeah, so you rolled your d20.
Tex clearly made a mistake here, which was he attracted attention to himself and then painted a target for us to aim at.
I got a 12.
A 12. That is a success. So what's the damage for that?
5 SP.
5 SP. Oh,
This is, I would say this is, the commander's just been sort of on point, just sort of sitting, the gun is sort of right next to the sort of pilot's cabin. And I'm just sort of been there and I just sort of look out. I hear this on the radio. I'm like, what? Railgun. Magnetically propelled ballistic weapon that fires a large caliber, high velocity projectile at extreme range, dealing devastating damage on impact.
Very devastating.
Yeah.
Boom.
Is this one of these cool guns that doesn't make a noise? It's like that bit in Last Jedi where the ship goes through the other ships and it's just like a silent kill kind of thing.
Spoilers, I've not seen it yet.
I am
Technically,
in
I think they make quite a lot of noise because it's a magnetic propulsion system. So either you're charging and then releasing the energy in that regard, or you're literally running 2 massive magnets up and firing it off.
It goes thwomp.
It goes thwomp, yeah.
And then boom.
So Commodore, yes, you easily hit, but what was it for the heat stuff? You take 1 heat per...
I took 1 heat because it draws on the energy of the mech's reactor to fire, generating heat.
Fantastic. Can you roll for me a d20? So every time you take heat, you have to roll a d20 and see what you get on the table.
A 6.
6. Oof, that is something. Let me scroll to the page. I didn't have it up. Stupidly, I didn't have it up because I didn't assume you'd shoot straight away. That was silly of me, wasn't it? Okay, a 6. Oh, you have a module overload. One of your modules has overloaded and is destroyed. This is chosen by me, the mediator.
Fiona, that's only when you hit your full heat.
Oh,
that's a overload. That's reactor overload. You just gain heat until you hit the overload.
You are correct. I am so sorry.
So you want a reactor overload, do you?
That's right. So yes, so push that back. So yes, so Commodore, you see your heat sort of go up and a bit. You're like, gotta be careful. But yes, you have 1 heat currently. Would you like to move closer or move away? What is your plan?
I'm gonna stay out here. Stay out here. I would say I do need to take some damage because of my difficult choice from crossing the thing.
Fantastic. Please do that then. So you take 2 damage.
Oh, is that to structure or HP?
We're going to say to your structure for this one because you were before it was moving across the desert on that front. So yes. So great. So who would you like to go next in the initiative?
The
Commodore,
chat has just confirmed for us. You don't roll on the table every time you take heat. You equal to or under heat for a reactor overload check.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, chat. So yes, so Commodore, where would you like to? Who would you like to go next in the initiative? Would you like one of the enemies to go, or would you like one of your friends to go?
I can cause a reactor overload. I can literally just cause a reactor overload if we want to just stop one of them.
Do you want to take out the little guy?
I was thinking the bad guy, so then they can't run away.
Alternatively,
don't bother picking me. I'm short range. So
alternatively, my missile pods hits 1 target, but then an additional point of damage to every other target within melee range of the target.
If I stop the guy at the back,
yeah.
If I stop the guy at the back, that'll stop the other one moving around. So you hit the one in the middle, and then we go boom.
Mm-hmm.
What range is your missiles?
Long. So if I spend my action moving forwards, we'll go from far to long range.
I'm at far range, so I can just sit here and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to see what they're going to do, so we get that extra point.
Yeah.
As part of it. So let's hop on over. Let's hop on over to the other side.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So see what they do about that.
So this is just going to be.
Tech will go next. After almost being obliterated in round one.
Like, oh shit!
He's like, I need to make some life choices. So what Tech will do, he will use double movement and will just start rushing straight towards you. So he closes the gap to come to close range, essentially. Okay. But that's all he can do in his turn. I'm then going to pick one of the other mechs to come next. This one is a lighter mech. It starts to sort of skitter about and then start to move forward at a very fast pace. And it's going to go straight towards, let's just roll a d4. We'll see who's on it.
It's worth noting that in positioning wise, Socrates and Flea would be at the front and Blackjack and Commodore would be at the back.
Because we're helping with the...
Because they were helping move the things on the road.
Perfect. Great. Well, then I rolled an even, so we'll go for Socrates. This mech is going to come up to you and it's going to make an attack at close range. It's going to roll for its laser. You can see it sort of power up and it doesn't make a noise because lasers don't make noises. And it sort of shoots towards you.
They go pew pew.
It's pew pew. It rolled a 7.
And when it misses, it goes Barney McGrew.
It does not. I'm going to spend an action point to counterattack. So when an enemy within engaged range, which I believe this now is, rolls a 6 to 10 on an attack against you, I deflect their attack and take no damage.
Amazing. Easy enough. So this creature almost slides in and you can see the lasers powering up and it sort of hits off your carapace and you just don't feel anything. You're like, ha, idiots. Like maybe you shake off yourself.
I sort of grab the laser thing and just tilt it slightly as it's about to shoot. It shoots over the shoulder instead of hitting.
Very cool. Very cool.
Wait,
well, then
watch where you're pointing that thing.
Well, then Socrates, I'll let you go next then after this. Because you've got it in its hand, essentially. What would you like to do?
So we are on a raised section of road. How significant is this road drop? I'm curious.
I'd say it's pretty significant. It's like a big over sort of highway, essentially. You sort of came up one of the sort of exit ramps and sort of made your way on. So there's definitely a big drop.
Excellent. Then I'm going to use my anthropomorphic arms, which will deal 3 structural points of damage. I'm just going to throw this thing over the side. So it's come running up to me. I'm a medium class thing. It is a light class thing. So I'm just going to pick it. So as it goes to shoot me, I grab hold of its laser, arm, gun, whatever form this thing takes, and sort of like pivot get my other hand up and right over.
Fantastic. Can you make me a D20 check?
I most certainly can. So, out of curiosity, on a 20, I do double damage. Is that correct?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
So golden. I'll take that double damage.
You've absolutely nailed it. So yes, you do that, and a bit of bonus as well. What I'd say, and you can choose what you want in this bonus essentially. But yeah, you pick this up, and almost Wilhelm scream. This creature is thrown off the side. And it sort of falls down to a little, obviously it's not that far, but it essentially like a little spot and it goes dink and a small poof as you pretty much destroy that whole mech off the top. So fantastic.
Nice.
Bye.
Yeah, so it sort of comes up and has woefully misjudged its life choices.
Yeah, F in the chat. F in the chat.
Do then is because I can do something additional with my D20.
Yes.
I'll ask if I can activate my multi-targeting, which is a energy point spend, but it means I can make additional attacks. So having like taken one out, I'll right myself around, pulling the gun off one shoulder and activating the missile pod that's on the other.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so
I'll let you do that.
Yep. So I'll spend my 1 energy point. And I will make I'll shoot Tex with my 30mm autocannon. And then if there's one that's
what range is that? I was going to say, what range is that?
Close range for the 30mm autocannon.
It's far away just now.
He ran up to you. You're right.
You are right, yes.
And then I still have my movement, so I'll move a bit closer as I'm shooting my autocannon, so I'm in long range for the other mechs to drop a missile on them. Does that work?
That works exactly. Roll
okay,
a
right.
D20.
So we'll start with a 30mm autocannon, which is which is special is if I roll a 1, it jams and it's operational for 10 minutes.
Perfect.
So it's a damn good job that I only roll a 17.
That is a success. You deal damage.
So that's 3 points of structural damage to Tex. And then for the missile pod on the, I'll target, let's say left, just for ease of differentiating.
There's 2 left on the thing,
Yeah, because the one that's on the right will also take 1 point of damage if I hit. Actually, it doesn't say if I hit. It just says I deal additional 1 point of structural point damage to everything in melee range of the target, whether or not I hit.
Yep.
And that's a 13.
That does hit, yes.
And I need to note that down. So yeah, I just sort of, pivot, throw this thing off the side of it. And as it's going, the hand comes over the shoulder, points the cannon at Tex and takes a shot whilst running forward, and the missile just goes up into the air towards it.
Fantastic. Let me find it. I just need to roll something.
Excellent sound effect there, Socrates.
I can't believe I rolled an actual 1 on that. That's so frustrating. So you go, and Tex mech, again, point of view of the camera, it goes into this horrific mech. There is, I don't know, a ton of taxidermy. There is like a weird animal with lots of horns on the back wall. That's sort of its mouth, sort of like this. You see a bloke in a duster with a cowboy hat on, and you just see his eyes go wide, going, "What the fuck?" His hand goes towards his emergency hatch, but he rolls a natural 1. Doesn't make it in time, and it is just fireworks essentially. So yes, I had to roll on the critical injuries table, and 1 is death. So couldn't have timed that better. So Tech is out of the race. He's like gone, and then the other ones. What was the damage that you gave?
So it's 3 points of damage to the one on the left, and then an additional point of damage to the one on the right.
Fantastic.
How many? I thought there were only 3 mechs.
So one went over.
Yep.
There was 4 total, 3 small, 1 large.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And what was the range damage for the one next to it? Sorry, Ben.
1 point of structural damage as well.
Fantastic. Good stuff. So I need to make another hatch escape roll for someone. Look, 15. So they do get out. Hooray! Where did that go? Critical injuries table. Oh well, sort of they get out. So you see that the Tex mech is just basically burning. You can see sort of skull and crossbones sort of melting away from some terrible paint job. The missile comes and explodes another mech, which sort of it bends slightly and sort of starts to fall over. There is somebody you can also see somebody is getting out, and then is just basically crawling their way before coughing so much that they fall unconscious. And then the one that did get damaged. I guess, the one that is sort of like shaken slightly, but is still upright. Ben, it is your choice to pick who goes next. Would you like one of your friends, or would you like this poor
I'll
mech
take
to go
the single remaining small mech to go next, I think is the best idea here.
Fantastic. Well, they've just seen their whole platoon get annihilated. So they're going to roll... I'm going to roll a morale check to see what happens. They get a 3, so 3 is retreat. So they're going to go. You just hit, all of you hear like on the radio, and it goes and it sort of turns around and quickly sort of arms pounding back in towards the city. Essentially.
Nope.
Can I stop him before he does that?
Have you had your turn?
No.
Nope. We've got 2 more people who haven't had their turns.
That's what I thought. Well, I'll let Flea go first and see if they have anything for the combat. But yeah, essentially, it's moving itself away. So, Flea, what would you like to do?
I've got a job to do. I'm letting these jokers deal with the enemy. I'm still moving mechs for the caravan. I haven't noticed. I'm still just humming along. I'm like, just shifting
it's just
stuff.
in the background, essentially.
Yeah, just these missiles and railguns going behind me. And
it's always perfectly timed to land like a beat of your music. Yeah. So you've got no clue that a fight's going on. No clue that like Socrates just killed 3 people style thing.
It's all background noise. Oh, just roll a d20. Let's see how successful you are at moving the rest of the mechs as this ongoing fight is going behind
18.
you. 18, you're absolutely fine. You're like,
Every time you flip over a car, that's when the rocket hits.
Just when it hits, yeah. I am
Yes.
looking, I've got expert salvage, I'm looking for a fan for blackjack, if I find one. But that's what I'm doing.
fantastic. Perfect. Well, we'll come to the end of at the end of this fight, we'll come to that, so no problem. All right, blackjack. Up to you. You see this thing going, rah, 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 like running
I've
away
got
slow
two
motion.
choices. I'm wondering how vindictive I'm feeling. Do I make him go boom, or do I try and take control of him and make him come back and beg for forgiveness? I'm thinking I'm going to try and make him come back and beg for
back to the
forgiveness.
city's not a bad idea, because that means that if they're working with a larger crew, knowledge doesn't get to them.
I don't care about that. I want him to come back and beg for forgiveness. He's scratched our paint jobs.
Actually, I don't think anyone did.
I'm gonna Trojan him and try and take control.
They sort of did a woohoo, like we're the bad guys, and then you obliterated them.
And now he needs to apologise for being a bad person. He needs to come to my feet and beg up my feet and watch me roll a 1 here.
Yeah. Okay, go for
So
it.
it's the Trojan module. As an action, you attempt to hack an opposing mech in long range to gain control of it.
All right, go for it.
And I've got my own table here that tells me what happens.
Perfect. Let us know
It's
what
on
happens
page
in that.
27 if you want to look at it.
Follow along at home, folks.
I got a 15.
Ooh, very good.
Oh,
And that says you take full control of the target mech for 15 minutes.
Oh no!
Sorry, for 10 minutes.
That's just mean.
I have a pet for 10 minutes.
So what would you
You
like to do?
basically just see me going, here, boy, here, come to me, come. Yes, now bow down, sit.
It runs
here.
over to you, and you sort of, again, using different buttons and modules and stuff, you just see it sort of awkwardly sort of get to its knees and do like a grovel position. as desperately everyone can see this. There's it's a woman, a pilot in the back going, oh shit, and is desperately trying to rewire things and stuff like that, but all to no avail.
This is the first I noticed of the combat, and has their mech got any good stuff on it?
Roll another d20.
Okay.
I get out the mech and I just stand on top of it and
90.
point my flashy laser pistol at her, going, "You just wait here a moment, okay? You just hang on a second. We've got
Brilliant.
questions."
Whoa, questions. Well, with that, let's take a post-combat break so I can work out what you get in terms of salvage, and we'll be right back in like 5 minutes, if that's all right with folks. But yes, you've completed very successfully your first combat of Salvage Union, so good job, folks.
I rolled the dice well. I'm shocked.
Drink water, chat. Everyone go get water.
Yep.
Thank you very much. We'll see you back in 5.
See you in 5.
And according to David, we are back. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. So, as you've just seen, my party have just annihilated one of the first combat, which is exactly what I wanted them to do. But going to Flea, because Flea, you were doing some salvaging, per se. And I forgot to ask you. So now the area is clear. So we'll go do that first before you go on to the mech that's currently groveling at Blackjack's feet. So what I want to know is that you're able to find stuff, but how much stuff? The question. So how many energy points are you doing? Salvaging will take an hour. How many would you like? Because then that determines how many items you've managed to find.
Only one. I'm doing it as a side thing. I just want to pick up something. I'm not, because most of this stuff's going to be picked clean. So I'm just, if anything happens to be good as I'm moving these chassis out of the way, I'll pick it. So I'm not going out my way.
Well, we've got 4 mechs that we've just taken care of.
Exactly. There's going to be more stuff there.
Yeah.
In terms of the general
One of them's
stuff,
undamaged as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. So the salvaging the place itself, that's fine. If you're getting something specific from certainly say the mech in front of you, that is slightly different. So I can. So if you're looking around just now, and I'll tell you this for free because I don't have time to say like, oh, you only got this and you don't get anything else. It's not that. So I rolled on the tech table and you find lots of sort of plastics essentially, stuff of different products and stuff. So you can see there's thermoplastics, there's polycarbons, vinyls, polymers, that sort of thing essentially. So you managed to find that, so you can take.
I'll pull them off, and Commodore, if it's okay with you, can I load them up onto the back? I
Get her
have
in.
no storage capacity, so yeah, I'll load up a whole load of plastics.
Brilliant. So yeah, one slot is now dedicated to plastics, essentially. And I know that we can go into the fine and nitty-gritty details, but we don't have time for this sort of one shot. So on the mech itself, on the mechs themselves, I will say you quite sizably destroyed quite a few of them. So there's not much worth salvaging there. But you want to get a specific system. Let me find the thing. Specific part. So you're salvaging a specific system or module takes an action and costs 1 energy point or ability point. Energy point because you're using your mech to take this out just now. It requires a mech with rigging arms, which is what you have. You cannot salvage anything mounted on an active mech or actively being used. I mean, it's currently active, but I'm sure it's going to be destroyed at some point in the next hour.
Not with a couple of cuts to the wires.
Exactly. When you salvage, you gain a component from the random system or module. So I can decide that. So that is all fine.
Yeah, I'm looking for a system as well because I'm packed out on modules. So it's on these systems that I'm looking for.
Cool beans. So if you want to spend that energy point, you can get that. Perfect. So if you note that down. And David, because you did say off stream, what was it? How many energy points did you use for your 4 energy points? So you're pretty depleted on your energy points just now.
No.
No?
No.
Got it.
I'm fine. I've got lots.
Cool. So on this, on the light mech, on this one, you can see there is, trying to find the light mech, I think it's a laser it's got on it. And taking it apart, you can see, so it's got, it's got a laser, an escape hatch, and a comms module, but that's pretty much it.
Sure.
So,
I'm going to wrench off the escape hatch. I don't have one.
Super.
These mechs are designed to protect the mechanics, not the pilot.
So when I say you're taking off, so that's what the system is. But you only take off like a bit of the stuff. Right. So you get either scrap metals or a simple mechanism.
A simple mechanism. I'm going to find metals everywhere. So yeah, I'll rip off a simple mechanism, put that on the back of Commodore.
Perfect. So look, you're like, jobs are good and done.
Yeah. What is our post-apocalyptic punishment system like? How the obvious answer here is death or darker things, but
leave and go.
How do we handle these people? Because I'm tempted to give them to the merchant and sort of like, you have to, work off the debt to this person because you were going to rob and or kill them. Yeah. But additionally, you have to treat them like human beings and not just, style things. But I don't know.
I'd say this is the first time you've encountered a shootout, but also the first time you've obviously really won one. So it's a really interesting choice. You know that there are people of the wastelands. They've got denizens. You'll have outlaws like these people who take advantage of people, but then you are also taking advantage of the ship that has sort of landed in a thing. So it is kind of like a free-for-all, winner-takes-all type situation. So I'm going to leave that up to you folks. There's not like there's not like a code.
Because there's 2 of them definitely alive, and there's a third that might be alive if they got lucky with the fall.
They didn't.
Okay, never mind.
They didn't.
Yeah, let them go. They're harmless, aren't they?
Yeah, people do what they need to survive. Sometimes they get blown up. Comes with the job. Punishment's punishment.
I'll walk over to Tiffany and go, look, you've got a lot of stuff here, but no real protection. I reckon if you gave these folks a chance, they'd work for you for, working it off. And if you can help their mechs get a bit of repair, you've probably got yourself 2 decent guards now that whatever that idiot's name's gone.
I believe his name was Tech. He was infamous around here as an outlaw, but you dealt with him so quickly.
Was he?
Yes.
Huh.
We've been avoiding him for weeks.
Well, then it looks like you've got 2 people that could do with a new job and maybe a re-education on how to handle problems.
That's brilliant. Well, please, you've done so much for us already. You not only dealt with, without a bandit problem, but also cleared the way. We've got, and she sort of looked through, here, we've got some optical glass. We've got loads of the stuff. If you want it, you can also take that.
Load her on up.
All right.
I've got time to be. I've got my rigging arm.
Mm-hmm.
Powering over. It's a big crane. Leads over.
it always like a lucky dip sort of goes in. And it's like the car, it moves. And you pull out a whole sheet of optical glass. So yes,
You're
this
like,
is,
good
this is
stuff.
glass of sufficient clarity and quality that can be used in scopes, scanners, lasers, and other optical appliances. So there you go. So if you ever need glass, Commodore has.
I need a new
say.
screen for my game console.
It is quite big.
Excellent. We
Tell
can
you
have a
what.
group game. We can all play together.
We get some circuitry and wiring, and I can put together an advanced targeting module with what we've got so far.
Got
I mean, like
plastic.
the one I use on Brawler.
Yeah, but bang it on Commodore with a railgun.
Good call.
Sounds like a party. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are you doing with the groveling mech at this point? Obviously, the hatch has now been taken off, so you see a very frightened woman, like sort of like hands up.
I'm stood on the mech with my fancy laser pistol, my modded out laser pistol, just pointing at her, smiling at her, going, "Ha ha!" Just like being like completely over the top, thinking I'm in like some kind of anime space thing. Space cowboy, like, yeah, that's exactly what you get.
I'll sort of pop the front hood on Brawler, and sort of like lean out, dog tags, this replacement jaw, and just go, y'all look like you need work now. Yeah. So that person you're trying to rob, that Tiffany, they're going to help your mechs, which we've disabled.
You're going to around fire.
You're going to work. Well, to be fair, there's like one that's on fire, and the other one was like kind of on fire, and then Brendan's like out the front, alive but unconscious.
I mean, the Texas one is just legs currently.
So Tiffany said that you can work with them, so you're going to provide them protection, and they're going to help you with the fact that you now have no mechs and nothing, and you're at the behest of 4 people you just tried to murder or rob at best. So as I see it, you've got 2 choices. You can reevaluate yourself and recognize that maybe, just maybe, this is the one chance the universe gives you to straighten up. Or if I don't hear from Tiffany in a couple of months' time, know that you've got a couple of months lead on me, but then I'm going to come and hunt you down if anything happens to them.
Ooh, make me a D20 check, please. And they're going to also do one.
So people in the chat aren't used to how much luck I have, and like everyone else knows I am lucky. So I'm just going to
all
tilt
from
my
me. This is why I roll so
down.
badly.
Oh no, that's the cat.
Hello, cat.
Oh, hello.
That's a cat. Oh,
Post-apocalyptic
you rolled a
cat.
First of all, it's a cat. So you can just see the 17 that I rolled. I make no apologies. The devil offered me a good deal.
It did. That's fine. So you can see, you Socrates, you make this big, cool, sort of almost like anime style. I can imagine everyone else, it cuts to everyone else sort of like they're looking very, very cool. And you can see this person, their hand sort of twitches towards a laser pistol that they have. And they think better of it. Yeah, they think better of it, realizing they're outnumbered. And they sort of go, like nod their things. And Tiffany is very grateful to have an extra pair of hands. And I'll say, for the sake of expediency, they go pick up the unconscious bloke that's a couple of miles behind. But success, you have managed to outwit the highway challenge. So good job, team. Very good job.
Outwit. I think we just destroyed the challenge.
If we look through to the VOD, yeah, it's completely destroyed. So you have a choice now. So you can see in front of you the way you were going is Hope Falls, sort of the big sort of skyscrapers and a huge sort of almost like a metropolis type city. And you know that behind you is this other settlement of wastelanders. And you know there is bits of intel there should you want to go see it, but you are on a bit of a time schedule, because certainly that sort of big sort of fight would not have gone unnoticed, and you know that other people are trying to get towards Hope Falls to get some salvage. What is the plan?
Smash and grab.
Yeah, go as fast as we can. This is taken long enough, I think.
Can anybody carry Commodore? You're going a bit slow. We might need to move a bit quicker.
I mean,
now,
heavy.
That's enough of all this. You know, Atlas goes as fast as she wants to, and I've got all your plastics, I've got all your glass. I'll carry you home when you get into trouble. Now, don't you complain about how fast my mech's going.
I can make her go faster.
I can make you go slower. It's called a rail gun.
I can. I'm going to go over there now.
I'd say that's a good idea, hon.
Bye.
Play nice.
Fantastic. So you make your way towards Hope Falls. And yeah, you can see across this sort of city, there is definitely bits of debris. More so, you can see there's smoke coming from a building very far down, sort of if you're just walking down it in front of you, sort of, let's say, north, you're going north essentially. And you can see other bits of things where, you know, it has not been lived in for some time. And you can definitely see that this ship, the Atychos, had some sort of explosion and bits of the salvage have gone across the city. So again, through the magic of tech, you get up a new data map. Ooh, exciting. And I will send that to you now. Essentially, I assume Blackjack goes, enhance, and you sort of double tap your screen. And it appears up like so. So you are entering from something that is this sort of shown on the data map as industrial. And you can see there are sort of 5 different areas. Going from industrial, there is one down which is just named Lake. Then it goes up to a plaza. And then from the plaza, there is 2 other options you can go to. You can go to the hab and the park, essentially. As you start to make your way in onto the outskirts of Hope Falls, you can see that you come into sort of this industrial block, sort of an intertwined area of factories and stuff. And you can see this huge sort of factory in the distance, which just has a very generic sign called Meat Processing Factory on the side, because I don't have time to make up brands. But you can see there has been a massive hole in the roof here. So you suspect that one of the bits of ship, a really important bit of the ship, is inside.
Looks like something fell through the roof.
Yeah, where's the 2 questions? Where's the biggest impact site look like? Is it the plaza? Is it come down in?
Good question. Let me have a quick check. What's your second question? Before I
the other is, if we're in the industrial zone now, do we know where the Aztec zone is?
Unfortunately, that's in the next module, next to the futuristic zone.
Okay, right.
Man,
sorry.
I watched that recently. That's such a great show. Cool. So you can see. Let me see. So got that. Okay, so the biggest, looking at your map and sort of doing some quick navigations and stuff, I'll give you this for free. You think the biggest part of the ship came down in the park itself. You can see it's again from the top graphical view. You can see there's a big sort of score mark essentially there.
Okay, right. To the park. That's the other side, isn't it? That's annoying.
Yes. So yeah. Okay. So again, just for our viewers at home, because I know we can't really show the map, they're in the industrial zone, which is probably on the left side of the map, which goes down to the lake, goes up to a big plaza, sort of in the middle, and then there are 2 zones off that: the hub zone, or the hab zone, sorry, and the park. And it looks like on the map as well, again, you would see this easily, all of you, probably again through Blackjack's sort of way of just doing tech, that there is a piece in the industrial zone, a piece in the hub zone, and the park as well. I'm looking at it.
So logically, we could get maybe 2 of 3 and then leave, or go for a third and then be forced to leave from a set direction. But if we leave from the park, we'll be heading back, I imagine, towards Scrapper's Bluff. Is that correct, Fiona?
Yeah, I will say for the sake of narrative that, yeah, it's sort of, you could see like there's ways in and out of this thing, and so it would sort of make its way back towards the way. Or you could even just skirt round and then get back on the highway.
Let's check the industrial one, see what we can find, because if we hit a treasure trove, then great. And if not, we'll push on. Yeah, let's have a look.
How much more can we get into Commodore? Like,
I have 12 cargo slots. I've filled 2.
Plunk, plunk, plunk. Yeah.
She big.
I think someone else has got some as well. It's at the bottom of the mech sheet. There's like I don't have any.
I was going to say one person I think out of all of you doesn't have any, but most of you will have stuff. It's just to salvage it, to like pull it off stuff.
Oh no, it's literally just the Commodores.
Is it?
Of our ones, yeah, the Brawler, the Mantis, and the.
Well, isn't it? Oh, good on you, Commodore.
Yeah,
carrying all that weight.
the
team.
The other 2 of 6 players we don't have all have cargo. So I guess good choice me.
All mechs can carry salvage equal to the number of arms they have as well. As
right. So
I don't have any arms.
Yeah. You know what? That's hilarious. I didn't even think to ask like who's brought cargo holds. So like you could all gone out and they're like, right, we need to take one thing. Oh, no one brought it.
I can actually, if we really stuck, I can make one.
Can you make me arms?
Yes. I can make you arms, and I can make cargo holds as well. So if we get enough stuff together, I can, make enough sort of rigging arm, scrap metals, wiring, simple mechanism, and circuitry. So we find enough stuff, I can bodge together an arm for you.
Cool. I've got 1 system slot.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's see what we find, and let's see what we can do.
So this big sort of generic meat processing factory is there, and you can see the big hole in it. I'm really thinking like very typical Manchester old-fashioned mill factory at this point, and but you do notice like you won't be able to get your whole mechs into it per se. Like you maybe have one of people look over the top perhaps, but to get in at it, you probably have to like have people go in to see what is in there and then direct someone to pick it out if whatever you find in there.
Okay. I'm sorry, I realise I'm dominating at the moment, but just very quickly, I can ping this place. I've got a deep survey scanner, which is kind of used for mining operations, but it is for enclosed places. So I could put basically, if I find a hole in the wall, get as close as possible, and then ping it, and we get almost like I almost see it like a wireframe map. You don't see detail, but you get a sense of the structure inside. So I can do that for 2 energy points.
Amazing. That's good. Do you have to? Is there any?
2 energy. 2 energy. Yeah.
So, and what do you ping off it? Does it describe it?
Right. Yes. Scanner. You scan structures such as cave networks or ruins. I'm pushing the finger a little bit here. Or base. You sense the general layout of the next 3 areas connected to yours, plus the layout of any passageways between those areas. The mediator will draw you a rudimentary map. Says that.
Sure.
Noting any major features like columns, bridges, or crevices. So it is meant to be for underground, so maybe it's not as exact when it's above ground.
I think that is a genius thing to do. I'm gonna rule of cool it. Let's do it like that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to see what else you can do. Great. So you spend that energy for
2 more energy. Yeah.
Fabulous. So you go up close. You put in like what? How do you describe what is it?
I think it's like. Do you remember in the 50s War of the Worlds? There's like a metal tentacle that goes in. This is the most advanced bit of kit, and it's like that. It goes in to the front, and it's got like a couple of colour lights on it, and then it. And then retracts back in. It's the most advanced bit of kit I've got. Like it looks like Apple made it. Everything else.
There's a logo on the side that you're trying to cover up.
Everything else is HP laptops, and then you have your Apple Pen over there.
I've stuck all my Anarchy stickers over the Apple branding. It goes out.
Fantastic. It just works because we're just going to be really cool of it. So this thing, everyone see this is horrible. It's a very sleek thing. It's probably battered like any Apple products that I own. It's battered, there's scratches on it, everything like that. It goes out and it sort of moves around, almost hand-like, and then it's sort of like, blip, and you get like a blip of a radar.
Yeah.
Going off on that. Very cool. So you... it sort of blips out, and instantly you can see this is a very big factory room. You can see small columns, etc. There's used to be sort of conveyor belts, etc. In the middle, what you think has caused this huge, big sort of hole looks to be like a big shape. It's sort of like different things going on, and you can easily assess that this is an engine of some sort. Looking around, there doesn't seem to be any of the big rooms per se. Maybe bits of ladders that have fallen off and something like that. As it turns around, though, you get a sense that there is behind certain columns and stuff like that, there seems to be other things around there. And suddenly you see across one of the skies, something moves very quickly on 2 feet and hides behind another column. Right. You are aware that there is someone else or other people here in this place as well. Okay,
so we've got an engine in there, we've got one big hall, but we've got company.
We're
going to have to go in on foot, I think.
Is there electronics in there? Can you see any electronics?
You can't currently. What I would say, in order to do that, if you want to actually do some salvage stuff, you have to go in and check the area yourself, and then make a salvage test. Which is
I don't want to salvage. I want to know if I can gain access to anything.
Oh, I see. So
would there be like a computer terminal? Would he see? Are you seeing a computer terminal? Are you seeing
I see it.
mech or something?
No, all of this, what you see in this place has either been picked clean already, or is just bits of ruin. If it's essentially just think like a meat processing factory, but it's just like conveyors being put into things. There's nothing else here. Not even the light fittings have been.
So I can't turn on the conveyor belt.
It doesn't look like it, no.
As it goes. A quick way in. Just put Socrates on a conveyor belt and just let them walk in and just start firing everywhere.
If the engine was already on a conveyor belt, this is easy. You don't have to go in. It just comes out. But yes, this is what you see flee.
Cool. Yeah, I'll relay that back then. We've got a big engine. It's a big hall. We need to go in to have a look around, but there are people in there, so I don't know. They'll know we're here already. You can't drive a mech up to a wall and send some in, so it's not like, we might as well announce ourselves in there.
Exactly.
In which case, I mean, this thing is a large industrial warehouse with columns and space.
Yeah.
Is it large enough to accommodate a mech itself?
You would have to probably break a wall. When I say this hole...
Oh, no, I intended to break the wall anyway.
Yeah,
cool.
I have a move that could be useful here.
Okay. Go for it. What is it?
So I have a move called Behemoth.
Okay.
Which says you strike fear into the hearts of a creature or mech. Explain how you do this and ask for what you want. I would quite like to just sort of walk through this wall.
Okay.
You Kool-Aid guy this. Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
And so, this like giant heavy mech with a massive rail gun on the front, just sort of walking straight through.
Yeah.
Guns perhaps pointing inwards. And just being like, and then just sort of comms coming out being like, hello, everyone. The SAR engine right there. So we're just gonna go in and grab that if that's all right with all of you.
Can we all like hang
I
off the
really
side
hope
of
it is.
You want to farm hole.
If we could have can Socrates ride on the back of you, so when you walk through, Socrates then rises up and all the guns just appear as well.
I love this. Flatbed truck, and it's a bigger thing than me, so I am fine to support this action because this was exactly along the lines of what I was hoping, and it's even better by Commodore's. I refuse to call it Behemoth ability. This is the Kool-Aid guy.
You press the button and it goes. Brilliant. Do you have to spend any points for that, Commodore?
I have to spend 2 action points, but is it that because I'm using my mech to do it, can I spend energy points to do it?
Yeah,
that's the ability underneath that says you can. You can.
That's all my other. Oh wait.
So for example,
here we go. There is a roll. I missed this. Roll the die. You can activate this ability in a heavy mech and use energy points to do so. Yeah. I'd have to do a roll to see how it goes. And I have a little table of my own.
Just don't roll
do
a one.
Roll for it then. I want to see.
Yeah, and don't forget you can push it if you want to reroll.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you guys have been doing so well, so I've had to mention it so far.
But it reminded me in the first half of the game.
You just fainted from stress and heat within the first.
Making my makeup run for crying out loud.
What did you get?
I got a 12.
Okay, that's
it says they flee from you or acquiesce to your demands, and those are basically the same thing. So.
Fantastic. Okay, so we'll do cinematic on this. So you do that. You get everything ready. You put your sort of mixtape into the radio, like, and then you do your honk honk, and Socrates gets onto the back of you. You obliterate the wall. The wall was not the problem. It just happened to be in your way. Bits of rubble start coming down, and the lights go on, and you say, "Hello, everyone. This is ours now." And you see a group of 7 wastelanders who are looking very scared. look like they haven't. They were just hiding from you because 4 big mechs came up, and a couple of them go and run away. And you can see that one of the I think about 5 of them run away. One of them is trying to carry what looks like a young boy who seems to have hurt his leg, not from anything that you're doing. They're just trying to get away from you, and they're desperately trying to get behind. But unfortunately, you've come at such an angle, you've blocked off any exit. So they're just trying to scrabble around the wall. They don't look like a threat. They look like they were trying to hide.
I will get out of the mech entirely. So I will sort of like get out of Brawler.
Mm-hmm.
I will walk over to the boy. So I'll put my hands up. Very, very, very calm, very, very safe. I'll walk over and just go, let me take a look at that, son. And I will get down and I will spend an action point to do my healing biofoam, which means I can heal a target within a gauge range 2 HP as an action.
Excellent. So they all are scuffling back from you. Again, the lights are blazing, the music is still going on from Commodore, and 2 of the mechs are also peeking in behind them. You get out, and the boy can't move very far. And they're sort of also sort of looking quietly at you. They don't look like they're armed at all. Looking at the leg itself, you do as best you can sort of patch it up. Maybe you get a bit of a splint going on, and he looks grateful to you, again, wincing in pain. It's not going to last, though. You can tell from just using that move, and I'll give you this for free. This boy will need medical attention, which you think he'd only get on the Union crawler itself.
And is this your mom?
It's a sort of an older girl who sort of looks at him and just like, it's my little brother. Please, we don't. You can take what it just came from the sky.
It's okay. Look, we should get your brother somewhere safe. Okay, and I think the best place for them and you would be on our crawler. Okay, I'll pay for everything in that regard. Okay, just you should come with us. Maybe you should wait here and I'll come back for you. But I can do so much here, but this needs more than I can give right now. Okay, and I want this to go well. Okay. I mean, this is what happens when you don't floss properly. Let's make sure we can take care of the leg, yeah?
As this happens, the claw is sort of like reaching out from Atlas, comes down, grabs the engine.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something completely different.
You are coming with us now, children.
You don't have a choice. Fantastic. Roll for me, Socrates, a D20 check to see how successful you are in convincing that you can help, because you have just destroyed and come for them.
Hey!
Yeah. And we'll get to the Commodore in a second.
Okay. So that's a 5.
A 5. Fortunately, that is a failure. You can see they're sort of like, look,
I'm just going to push myself if I can.
Absolutely. So when you push yourself, it says add 2 stress to yourself, and then roll the D20 again.
I get a...
Oh, say that again, sorry?
A 15 on the reroll,
but
I do take 2 points of stress.
You do, yes. That is right. Let me just check one thing, just make sure I've got it. But yeah, that is a success. So what you want happens. So you can see there's a moment of sort of unsure or uncertainty around the whole group, not just these 2. And they're like, okay, look, just...
Promise, if you don't want to stay on the crawler, I'll bring you right back. Okay? I promise.
Okay.
Anyone else who wants to come, you can help them get there. Get ready. We can take care of a few things there. But yeah, I can do what I can for that, but I can't do much more here, and I think I should.
Okay.
As thank you and payment for the engine.
Okay, fine. And they sort of group together, sort of huddle in the corner. What I will say for this, because after pushing your pilot, you add 2 stress, and then you roll another D20. If the result is equal to or under the current stress, your pilot stress will overload. So could you roll another D20?
Yep.
Please?
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's a 9. So
A 9. Yeah. So a fumble. So you make a bad decision in your panic. I'll give you
I think it would be if it was below my
You're right.
consciousness,
You know
I'd
what?
have that problem.
I do keep forgetting that. Thank you for reminding me. So yes. So it
Equal to or below.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So yes, absolutely fine. So you remain calm, even though you're like, "Come with me, kid.
I'm a doctor."
Children need to do what they're told.
I think while Socrates is doing a very impassioned, mercy sort of thing, at the back you can see Flea waving Commodore's arm in towards the engine, just like
you definitely
I'm
have
riding the arm.
You have glow sticks.
Yeah.
Can I be riding the arm as well? I'm like hanging off the edge of it, going, yeah. You cool.
Bring it in. Bring it in.
Fantastic. Let me find out what this engine does. So easily enough you can put the engine onto the Commodore. I mean, it's there, you found it, and it takes a little while. It takes about an hour or so, and it's quite loud as you're doing it, but you now have the engine, which can be broken down for parts. If you can be salvaged as a system, so that will take one person's energy point. I will say, the Commodore, could you take an energy point to pick up the salvage on that? And you salvage it as a system.
It's a system, is it?
Yes.
Well.
Go on.
I've got something here which is called well actually.
Perfect.
Oh God.
But I'm wondering whether it's only one action point.
Describe
but
it.
I'm wondering whether to use it on the engine. I don't know if describe what the engine looked like to me, then I'll explain.
The engine looks like a very futuristic engine that you would find in any air vehicle.
Okay.
Of that sort. Tell us what well actually.
So
is.
well actually says you're able to answer questions about modules, systems, mechs, or technology. So depending on the result of the dice, I get to ask you a certain number of questions.
Perfect.
And some of them you tell me the truth, and some of them you don't have to.
That could be fun. Do you want to do that?
Well, actually, yes, I really do.
Fantastic. We'll spend that. Was it ability point then?
Yeah, an ability point.
All right,
and I will roll the dice.
Perfect.
Just, above a 10 would be great. Cool. I got a 14.
Okay.
Which says you are able to ask 2 questions about it, and the mediator will give you true answers.
Rubbish. Okay.
This is why I wanted above a 10.
Yeah.
10 you give. I asked 2 questions, and one of them is a lie.
All right, go for it. What
So,
questions do you have about this engine?
what do I want to ask?
Its value, maybe.
Yeah, I was
So we
going
know
to say,
whether or not it's worthwhile.
is it worthwhile us carrying it around with us?
I would say yes. It is made of lots of parts, so you could break it down for even more. I'd say it's composed of 5 parts.
5 parts. Okay. Well, I've just also been informed I can technically push to fail rolls. So maybe that's going to happen on the next one. Just for the fun.
Do
of it.
not encourage David to fail rolls, Leyline. We don't need that help.
Totally do. What's your second question?
So
Blackjack?
there's 5 parts on it. You'd recommend us carrying it around with us?
I mean, it's pretty. Like, you've not seen something this intact, essentially, from what you've discovered with the downing of the ship, is that it's broken up into bigger parts. So any sort of salvage like this is worth a lot. I'll give you that for free.
I think that would be my next question. Is how much is it worth? You say worth a lot, then yeah. I think you've given me enough information that would have been from 2 questions from that. So
yeah.
Perfect.
I'm
not going to ask
it's
anymore.
Definitely taking this back will be really useful for the crawler and for a lot of people. You can make a lot on this, so absolutely.
There's enough bits in there.
Fabulous.
Cool. So, Flea, if you want to pick around, it's quite useful. Have at it, my dear sir.
Yeah, if we've got a little bit of time to kill.
Just make sure you get me a fan, okay? I still want that fan. You still owe me that fan.
I'll find you a fan. There'll be a smaller sort of sub fan within the big engine.
I'm guessing it's got like a radiator fan on it to keep it cool.
There's just so many fans.
Taking this opportunity whilst we've got like an hour of salvaging and getting this thing out there and stuff like that. Fiona, how do we do things like regain action points and structure points on our mechs and things like that?
I am so glad you asked. Just before we do that, so in terms of salvaging, Flea, so again, how many points are you putting into salvaging to get stuff? Hang on, sorry, let me find
I'll put 2 energy points in. Screw it.
2 energy points in. Great. Can you roll me 2 d20s? I'll let you find something on that.
19.
19. Ooh, very good.
And 11.
Oh, both very good. So spending this time
Yep.
looking around, you can find, or you find some carbon fiber, which is stronger and lighter than most base metals and is useful for strengthening load-bearing components or for creating light and effective armor. And you also...
Fiona, sorry, before, I can actually pick what I want. That's part of my thing, as long as it's in the tech level. So I'm looking at very quickly what I might actually want.
What tech level?
1.
1. It's not in tech level 1.
Well, so what tech level is it?
It's tech level 3.
Ooh.
So we're in a big factory. You see.
Well, depleted uranium it is.
They make the best rounds.
I'll pull out some depleted uranium and some superconductors then, please.
Perfect. Easy enough. Yeah. You sort of go, hang on, narrative.
I'm literally pulling out the depleted uranium. This is fine.
Yeah, behind it's okay. We'll take you back to our very safe Union crawler. Oh God, look what I found, lads.
Yeah. Oh, lads, depleted uranium.
It's not melting my hands at all.
Yeah.
Does someone want to take it off me, please?
Fantastic. In answer to your question, Socrates, to regain ability points and energy points is actually downtime where you go back to your Union crawler and spend a week there.
Right. Okay.
And that's the same for relieving stress as well. Relieving stress and venting heat is slightly different. But to recover all your points, essentially to do a long rest, you have to go back to your Union crawler and spend a week fine-tuning and stuff.
How would I remove the heat then that I have accrued because
all the stress that
I've just got far too much. I've just got far too hot. My makeup is running, and I'm really upset by this.
Perfect. So for a short-term thing, let me find this on the sheet. So venting heat, we'll do that first. To reduce your heat, you must shut down your mech for 10 minutes, which obviously is easy enough if you're looking for stuff just now. This will reset its heat back to 0 once complete. You can then power back up your mech as an action to make it fully operational. So I'm going to give you time to do that now. So if people want to do that for your venting heat, you can totally do that.
Yep. Yes, relieving stress is the same, 10 minutes.
Exactly. So so as long as so maybe you're right. Okay, we've got all the stuff we need. Now let's just take a 10-minute power nap.
I sit in the shade, retouch everything up, and
exactly.
Play a bit of Candy Crush.
Energy's not until the very end, kind of thing.
Energy and ability points, yes, because those are obviously the more important things to do stuff. Yeah, you used a lot of them.
Used a lot of energy
in that first fight. I mean, props, fantastic news. Hopefully that will.
I mean, I used 1 energy in the first fight.
You rolled incredibly well.
I used 4, but I've still got.
More,
yeah, exactly. So that's the idea. Is that obviously you weigh up the pros and cons of salvaging more stuff and getting back and avoiding fights. So,
but I absolutely love the fact that. Go on, David. No. Okay. I absolutely love the fact that by mechanically representing it, we're using energy in the same way. You value the people who are combative as much as the people who are not in the exact same system. So rather than having to write a custom system for salvage in that regard, by balancing it in that regard, you feel a rounded party. So of course I would spend my energy doing combat, but of course Flea spends theirs doing salvage, and that's where we make that balance. It's really nice to see that baked into a game.
That's why I didn't engage in combat, really. It was just like, no.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Well, you both will get paid by Leyline Press, I'm sure. Just send your invoices out.
I will work for a free copy of this game, or even cheaper, I will work to appear as an NPC.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that costs them more money because then they need to hire a writer.
No, they don't, because I'm a writer.
So easy enough. So you have completed the meat processing generic factory section of this one shot. So what would you like to do now? So looking at the map itself, it's the lake and then the plaza. But so what's the plan? Where are you going to the other places, or are you thinking time to jack off and go essentially? So
I think
back off.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to pass right over that. Right over that. I think we can make one more stop.
I think we can go to the lake. I think we can go for a swim.
I've still got 7 more cargo slots.
Exactly.
I'm good to go.
I've got 11 more energy points to use. I need to do something with them.
Remember, because we're salvaging as well. Yeah, you got to get home. But also the ones that can salvage are only ones who have arms, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with Flea, is that they have obviously the arms to do stuff, and that's totally fine. But at some point they will run out of energy points to do that. So you can only grab so much stuff unless who else has arms? I think Socrates, you have arms, right?
2.
So, yeah. 2. So yeah. So
I'm just going to go for a swim while they're salvaging in the lake.
Yeah, let's push on, get another bit.
Going on to the lake itself. Fantastic.
So to confirm that we know that the next piece will be in the plaza and then the park. Other than that, we've got no anticipation of anything that, other than what would naturally be within the city from this crash, they are our sites of interest.
I'm going to recon that, actually. Sorry, there seems to be things in each area. I will say that. Sorry, that is my fault. I mistook the arrows on the map. I think there's a ways into the place, and I just assumed that is my fault there. There is something interesting in each of these places. So you could easily just go, actually, we're going to make our way to the plaza, and stuff will happen in the lake, for example. But you know, it's that sort of thing that it could happen. I'll say that.
From what you said, the largest point then was in the plaza. The largest section of the crash was in the plaza. Is that correct?
Let me double check.
Just wondering if it's a good idea for us to rush now, given the fact that we're beginning to load up and also drain ourselves before we have to go through the mountain pass and or the heat desert death again.
Yeah.
Smash and grab. Run into the center, grab the biggest thing, run out.
So I would say, actually, the biggest thing would actually be in the park, not the plaza. Again, looking down on the parts of the topographic sort of thing, you can see there's a big, almost like scar through various bits of trees that have been left there. But you can't tell exactly what it is, because you might have to go there and find out what it is. But all of these areas are open for you to go.
Should we push rapidly to the park then, or should we go to as far as the plaza, then about face and?
I say we go to the plaza, stop over the park, and then head on out the other side.
Yeah, works for me as well.
Best to me.
Okay.
Head on out to the other side.
Sounds good. All right, who is leading the way? What is the plan? Again, the city itself is in ruins, but obviously you can't really go through building after building after building like Commodore has just done for this meat packing factory, because you'll make a lot of noise and stuff. So you might have to use
some buildings might fall on our heads.
Well, that too as well. So what is, I guess, the marching order or order of things? I'd say you can't really go side by side at this one. You have to go in between until you get to the big open spaces.
I'll go first because I
was going to say, do you want me to scout ahead on the light, quicker one? I know it's not a real thing, but as a visual concept. My comms range is further than everyone else's, so I can actually talk to you from further away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Blackjack, go. Sorry.
I'll take the back. I've got a big gun.
Yeah.
And I can take a lot of hits.
Yeah. Having you actually on the back in case we get ambushed from the back is actually a really good idea, because it means it gives us the longest amount of time to deal with any problems before someone's at risk.
I'm also very good at far away. I shoot from far away, so.
I need protecting. I've got a short range laser which doesn't use energy, but that's it.
Yeah.
Cool. So, all right. So I believe the marching order is Blackjack, Socrates, Flea, and then Commodore.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Also, if anybody does attack us, I can just feign death and go, no, I'm already dead. Leave me alone.
I got X's on eyes. Like, no.
Because no one in this world confirms kills.
No,
of course not. But they might try and scavenge me, so I need you to come up pretty quickly.
Who knows? Maybe we'll do a death kill at some point.
I'm gonna need a double tap module.
Oh man! All right, so you're making your way to the plaza. You know what? That is a very good point. Let's have a break before they make it to the plaza and onto the park. Thank you so much. We'll be back in 5.
Oh yeah, I need to do things for that, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
I'm the
Thanks,
tech man.
hacker. But yes, we'll join us back in 5 and we'll see what's in the plaza.
See you soon.
Will our mech pilots find their elusive salvage and get back to their Union crawler all in one piece? Find out next time on What Am I Rolling? The What Am I Rolling podcast was created, recorded, and edited by me, Fiona Howat. This episode's players were David, Ben, Viv, and Rob. This episode's RPG was Salvage Union, a post-apocalyptic mech tabletop role-playing game published by Leyline Press. You can find out more information about Salvage Union on the Leyline Press's website. That's leyline.press. The Kickstarter for Salvage Union is still open until early January 2022, so go and back it to get your own copy. The theme music was 8-Bit March by Twin Musicon of twinmusicon.org, licensed under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you want to find out more about the podcast, check out the website. That's www.wairpodcast.com. Fancy getting in touch? Email the podcast at whatamirollingpodcast@gmail.com. Finally, follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at WAIR_podcast for the latest news on upcoming episodes. And remember, adventurers need not apply.